Seems like I haven't seen you guys in a long time, so what questions do you have for me?
How's the bye week?
Good. Yeah, put in some good work last week and got an early start on Utah State. And so, we're going to have another full practice today and be ready to roll. So I think the guys had some rest over the weekend with not playing on Saturday and get caught up on academics. So away we go today. Be ready to roll.
Let's tackle the unexpected question. What's the quarterback situation?
Looking promising for us. I mean, with Jaron, I think Jaron will be okay to play this week. We'll see. And then, Zach's progressing really well, and doubt for this game, but we'll see how it's a day-to-day thing for him. And then once he gets able to throw the ball, we'll kind of have to wait and see how he progresses. But he's ahead of schedule when it comes to his injury.
Do you know who's going to start yet, or is that going to be determined during the week?
Nope, don't know yet. And so we'll figure it out as soon as we get closer.
What stats?
Ask me or someone else tomorrow. We'll see.
What stats or maybe like intangibles are you going to be looking for from Jaron and Baylor during practice to ultimately decide who's going to be that starter on Saturday?
I think just competition and seeing who gives us the best opportunity to win. That's what it comes down to, and we'll be practicing, and they'll both get turns with the ones and twos, and see who can make their group function better.
Philosophically, when a player is injured, does he lose his job as far as your coaching philosophy goes?
Well, I mean, it all depends on when he comes back. When an injured player returns, are they 100%? And the only way to tell is put him through some competition. I don't think you can forget about what they've done in the past and how good they were when they won the spot, but you also can't discount the fact that other players have gotten better too. So I think the only way to do it is compete, and we'll see the best. We'll play the best, and it doesn't really matter from week one and throughout the season. If someone beats somebody out, we'll make the change, and that's with every position.
What do you feel is the strength of your offense heading into the final month?
Well, I think they got some momentum going, and I think they've been able to respond to some new guys getting opportunities to play, and I've been really impressed with the depth. And you hate testing your depth, but going into the season, you're going to be tested in different spots, and been impressed with the coaches and the way they've been able to organize a game plan and the way our players are executing it, and how others are stepping up. So I think that's been a huge strength for us.
Speaking of the depth, I mean, what position maybe do you feel is the deepest right now? Because it has obviously been tested, that depth.
I mean, we took 4 O-linemen out of the mix, and so O-line's pretty good, when you take out half the group. And so I've been impressed with them. And then, even looking at the running back position, what A.J. Stewart and Coach Grimes and those guys have done in that group has been nice. And quarterback position. So I think anytime you go to your third string guys and you're able to still do well and have a good, good performance like we did against a undefeated ranked team, that's a good sign.
Gary Andersen has said he doesn't like bye weeks at all in college football.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have, of course, 2 this year. Every team does. Do you prefer them, or would you rather just play straight through?
No, I mean, take advantage of them. It all depends how you approach it. I think this bye week we're a little different than what we did last bye week, and so I think trying to get the result that we want, you have to change things up. But it is what it is. I'm not going to try to find 14 games in there. If we could, then we would do it. But it came at the right time for us to heal up in some positions, but also to get our depth better and get guys some more experience on the practice field and learning their assignments and getting the technique and the fundamentals down, as well as developing others. And so it's part of college football. I'm going to use it, and the main goal, though, is to try to get the result that we want in Logan, and that's what we started with last week.
How has your approach to this bye week differed from the last one?
I think the intensity was still the same. We try to work as hard as we can practice, and I think for us it was a little bit more trying to get Jaron ready and get some other guys in place with the injuries that we mentioned before, get them in place to function. Now it's just part of the deal where guys are expected to perform even if it's their first time being on the field. That's this last week, talking about last week in the bye week, we probably did a little bit more. We did more work than we did the week before, and knowing that we were going to have a second bye week. But I think this is a strong push towards the end of the year. Guys are going to have to step up, and we're going to have to go through some hardships even in the practice field.
What do you make of this year's version of the Aggies?
Yeah, I think the last game was a little difficult to watch because I think the elements disrupted a lot of the throwing that Jordan Love can do. So and I think Air Force took him out of the game by just possessing the ball, and I thought that was a good game plan for what Air Force had to do. But for us, it's a different beast. They're at home. They play really well at home, and they're capable of putting up a lot of points. So defensively, we're going to have to be on top of everything. I'm glad we got a week to prepare for them, and we got another game week of film. So we're going to utilize all that and try to be ready to get perform really well up in Logan. And looking forward to the game.
One of the things a lot of times happens during bye weeks is recruiting. Just talk for a second just about how recruiting has changed over your tenure as a coach, and also what's the biggest challenge that BYU faces with regards to recruiting?
Oh, recruiting is always it's an ongoing thing. So I think there's just an opportunity for coaches to get out and go see some kids. We've been evaluating players for a long time, and so the way we evaluate, and I think it's kind of interesting that this whole star system, everybody's intrigued with it, and the rankings of the recruiting, but we have to evaluate guys from what their ceiling is and what their potential is, not really according to recruiting service, things like that. If you look at some of the evaluations we've done in the past, I think you have to kind of look at some of the guys that we've evaluated early on, and they've been players, and they seem to get a lot of stars all of a sudden, So our evaluation process doesn't change. It's what everybody dictates who's at what certain ranking at some time. But I look at a lot of the guys that didn't have a lot of stars on our team, and they're going to be big-time factors in college football and have an opportunity at the next level. So all I'm worried about is trying to get guys that fit our program and guys that want to play at BYU, and we take shots at some guys that we feel can be difference makers, but they have to fit the lifestyle at BYU, and they have to fit the ability to function and to I guess make it with the academics here and how hard it is in school.
When you have a performance like you guys did against Boise State, how do you make that the new norm moving forward as opposed to just one game performance?
Well, I think that's college football consistency, and that's every level really. And so I think every coach is trying to find a way to be great consistently, and for us to be at that level, it's taking some time, and you're dealing with a lot of different factors that go into it. And so, but that's right now at this moment is what every football coach is talking about, trying to find a way to perform at a high level and do it over and over week to week, and that's kind of the battle. I think the teams that do it the best will be the ones at the end that have an opportunity to play for the championship, and that's what you're seeing in college football. And you're seeing some teams that are struggling with some games week to week and still find a way to win games. I think winning is really hard, and maybe easy to a lot of different people, that are out there. But guys, when you're functioning with getting a team ready, and you're dealing with a lot of different factors that go into the variables of trying to get a win, that becomes hard. But that's what we're committed to do, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we got an extra week to prepare and try to be as consistent as we were against Boise State, and looking forward to, even with that performance in the win, there are a lot of things that we could have done better in that game too, and a lot of things that we could have done to help ourselves earn the win earlier, and not have to come down to, going for it at the end.
Some strength of schedule metrics have deemed your guys' schedule at this point as a top 10 schedule nationally. What benefits do you think you've seen for your team in facing such a difficult schedule at this point?
Well, it's forced our guys to be ready every week, and I know that the performance hasn't been our best, and that's you're considering the competition, but also all the other factors that we've mentioned today in this press conference. So I really don't care about what anyone else says about our schedule. All I care about is beating Utah State right now, and that's what our focus on this team's got to be. Just focus on what we got ahead of us, and good week work last week, and we got to looking for if we can have that same type of performance this week. I think we'll be ready.
How gratifying is it to see former Cougars that you coached be on real successful NFL teams this season and having a big impact?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch those guys perform, and when we get the chance to watch them. But yeah, they're doing exactly what we thought they would do, and I think we have a lot more on our team right now. A lot of young guys that I think will have an opportunity to play next level as well as some of the seniors that might be able to make that impact in the NFL as well.
With all the positives coming out of the last game and the way you guys played, what do you think is the easiest to translate into this week from what you saw?
Oh, we just have to be physical. If you're talking about easiest, let's just be a physical team on all three phases, and that's something that we got to be committed to do, no matter what the weather looks like.
You've got a long-term relationship with Gary Andersen, obviously. How does it change? I know you talked about Kyle and whatnot, where you kind of lock things up ahead of time, but how does it change your relationship when you're coaching against a guy you've coached with so long?
Oh no, it's not about the coaches, but I have really close friends on that staff, and know a lot of the kids on the team too, on the roster. So, Gary and I won't talk this week, but we'll talk afterwards. And Justin Enna and I are, we're basically inseparable when we're here in college. So, close friend of mine, and I know a lot of guys out there, Frank Miley and TJ Woods. Those guys are good friends of mine. So, but it's not about the coaches. I said this before, that we're not the ones suiting up and playing the game, but we'll focus it on the kids and let them make the plays, and then we'll hug each other after the game.
How has Gary influenced your approach to the game or your coaching style?
Well, I mean, he gave me a chance when he was head coach of Southern Utah, and was able to bring me along to Utah when he became defensive coordinator there, and he's been influential to me in a lot of different ways, in coaching and how you treat and recruit players, and so he's been a mentor of mine. I mentioned him and Lavelle and Kyle and all the others that have been a huge impact in my coaching career, but not just in coaching, just as a person. I think they've helped me become better people.
Do you have any personal memories of being a part of a team that played up in Logan? Anything stand out to you?
As a player?
A player, coach, anything?
I just want the wheel back, that's all. I mean, I have tons of respect for Utah State and their fans, and just looking forward to the competition, and I know they'll be ready, and Utah State will give us their best shot. That happens in these rivalry games, and like I said, my job is to make sure that they get ours in return. So, tons of respect, and wish them all the best of luck, except for this week.
Do you feel your guys will?
Last couple questions.
Do you feel there will be any challenge for your guys to be up and ready for this week's game?
No, none whatsoever. Our guys have been up and ready for every game. They've had the energy and the excitement, and the effort has been there. So that hasn't been an issue at all season long.
With the new staff up there at Logan, what are some of the differences from the last couple of years of these Aggie team and some of the new challenges they present this season?
A lot of similarities. I think that Justin's going to do a little bit of what he does as a coach, as a defensive coordinator, but I think I see a lot of similarities. They're using the strengths that they have on their team in every phase, and I think that we were familiar with them a little bit on how they function. And remember, Justin was defensive coordinator for Ed Lamb as well when he was a coach, and so at Southern Utah. So we're seeing a lot of similar things, but I think for the most part they're doing it right by using the strengths of their personnel on the field. They have a bunch of great athletes in skill position on offense and defense, and the return game's money too, because they have a lot of success in punt returns for touchdowns and kick returns for touchdowns. And so they're a dangerous team, and our cover teams are going to have to be on point on punt cover and kickoff cover, but the offense and defensively they create havoc on defense, and they create turnovers, and we have to take care of the football and be mindful of that. At the same time, we have to stop one of the best quarterbacks in college football, Jordan Love, and he's got a strong arm. He can sling the ball. So, and then he has a lot of great targets to go to. So that mixed with a good core of running backs. So it's a tough task, but we're ready for it and looking forward to the opportunity to play against them.
One of those running backs, Riley Burt, transferred out of here. How involved were you in kind of helping him maybe find a new home when he entered the portal?
Oh, yeah, we talked about a lot of different things. I think it's closer to home for him, and he grew up there in Box Elder, and so I think it's just made sense for him to be that much closer to home and closer to family, and he wanted an opportunity to play more, and that's what why he went to Utah State, and I'm just wishing him the best.
Saw Tyson had
Last
surgery
question.
last week. Has he decided whether or not he's going to apply for a medical hardship yet?
Yeah, we're all trying to go for that, and it's just a matter of NCAA and what they're going to decide on.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.